Okay. يلا بسم الله. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك وأنعم على سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم. All right. So as a quick recap from last dars, we had covered here we got another one joining. We had covered how Sitna Fatima alayha salam, she had 5 children. We named her 5 children. We confirmed that one of her children was Muhsin, um, etc. One interesting side note on that note. So obviously we said we have Sidna al-Hasan, or Sidna al-Hussein, or Sidna Muhsin, and then her daughters were who? Zainab and Kulthum. So Zainab and Kulthum were the names of who? Can someone tell me? Yeah, so her sisters, right? So she named her daughters after her sisters, alayhin salam. So I found that pretty cute, to be honest, and I just wanted to point that out. So exactly, so the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's daughters being her sisters, older sisters, obviously. And in any case, like we said, she had also passed away 6 months after the passing of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And like we said, that was, believe it or not, again due to her deep connection and love for the Prophet alaihi salatu salam, that she literally could not live without him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In any case, like we said, today we're getting into the disagreement, if you would, that happened between Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu and Sitna Fatima alayha salam. Does anybody know anything about this? And if so, would you like to share what you have heard? If so, feel free, unmute yourselves and let me know, or type it out in the chat. Um, I'm interested to know what you have heard, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be what we're going to be covering. However, we're going to look into the authenticity of those narrations. So I guess, sorry, you don't? Okay, you'd never heard of it? Okay. So it's very interesting, actually. Um, so in any case, this is obviously a very long subject, so I'm going to try to keep it as concise as possible. However, there are some parts, or one specific hadith, which is a long hadith, which I do need to go through basically word by word, because it's very crucial, and you'll understand why. So in any case, the whole quote unquote disagreement, um, and to be honest, maybe you'll hear it more from our Shia brothers and sisters. Um, However, we're gonna go over where they're getting this from. Okay, so the whole dispute or disagreement was really with regards to the inheritance, after the passing of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So essentially, again, I'm just gonna try to summarize for the sake of time. Sitna Fatima alayhi salam went to Sidna Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu after obviously the passing of the Prophet alayhi salatu salam, and obviously Sidna Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was the Khalifa. So like we said, so she goes to Sidna Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu after the passing of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as he is the Khalifa, asking for her inheritance from the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. So essentially, what she's asking for, basically, the inheritance of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was some inheritance or wealth, if you would, from Khaybar, from the Battle of Khaybar, and then there was a piece of land which was called Fadak. It was known as Fadak, and Fadak is a land in close to the Hijaz area, which was actually inhabited by Jewish tribes. okay, which the Jews had actually given as a gift to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as a token of their solidarity, and as a token of like to offer peace between everybody, and um, essentially that's what it was. So they had given this land as a gift to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the Prophet ﷺ had, used this land to kind of whatever came out of this land from crops and anything that grew there. So be it plants, fruits, vegetables, whatever it may have been, he would use that and give it to the needy. Okay, so now now we get into the very, very, and I'm going to use the word dangerous ahadith, which essentially, I don't know if we can say instigated or caused the issues between the Sunnah and the Shia. However, it definitely did not help. Okay? And definitely made things worse, and you're going to understand why. So this hadith is narrated from Sitna Aisha radiallahu anha. So she says, according to the narrators, okay, and the main narrator of this version is Imam al-Zuhri, rahmatullah alayh. Okay, Sahih hadith. We're gonna go into that, whether it's Sahih or not. I want to give you the hadith first, and then leave the suspense for the end. So, according to this narration, Sidna Aisha radiallahu anha narrates that Sidna Fatima alayha salam asked Sidna Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu after the passing of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam about her inheritance that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam had left behind. Again, I'm just trying to summarize for the sake of time. According to this hadith, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu said to Sidna Fatima alayhi salam, says that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said that he, the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, did not leave anything to inherit, okay, except that which he left for sadaqah, referring to fadak. Okay. So now going back to that, so now as a part of the hadith, according to this hadith, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu narrated that saying from the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, where he says, La nurathu ma tarakna sadaqa. Okay. And then according to the hadith, or the narrator of the hadith, he says that Sidna Fatima alayhi salam became angry. Okay. And then what was added to that was, and she also, what's the word in English? And essentially she stopped talking to Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, according to this hadith. Okay. She basically cut him off. Okay. She cut him off because she got angry, because basically Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, according to this hadith, said to her that the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam said that he did not leave anything for inheritance. Okay. And then what's added in the hadith again is that she stayed cutting him off until she passed away. So essentially she never spoke to him after the death of the Prophet ﷺ, from that point on until she passed away. So for the 6 months she lived after the passing of the Prophet ﷺ, she did not want anything to do with Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. Okay? According to this hadith. And then the rawi, so the narrator of this version, okay, of hadith, goes back and he says, وقالت, and now he goes back to Sitna Aisha, because essentially Sitna Aisha radiallahu anha had reported a part, and then the Rawi, the narrator, mentioned that, and Fatima radiallahu anha got angry. She never spoke to him until she passed away. And then he goes back, it says, and then وقالت, and then Aisha radiallahu anha said. So he said part of a hadith, he said his own additions, and then went back and said Aisha radiallahu anha continued to say the following, which was that's Fatima radiallahu anha. So now again, according to the Rawi, now this is Aisha radiallahu anha speaking. He says, قالت وكانت فاطمة تسأل أبا بكر نصيبها. Now Fatima radiallahu anha used to ask Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu about her inheritance from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, from Khaybar and from Fadak. فأبى أبو بكر عليها ذلك. And then Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu essentially refused that of her or from her. وقال لست تاركا شيئا. And then he's saying, and then so he's saying that Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu anha is saying that Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu said that I am not leaving anything from the sunnah of the Prophet alayhi salatu salam. He says I am doing everything as he told me to do and he advised me to do. And then now they go on to refer to فأما صدقته في بالمدينة فدفعها عمر إلى علي. So they're saying that the inheritance, if you would, of the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام, where he had some also sadaqah which was in Medina. She says that according to this hadith, Aisha radiallahu anha says that was given to Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu from Sayyidina Umar. So that was given to him. And then and also to Abbas. وَأَمَّا خَيْبَرْ وَفَدَكْ. So now what was left from Khaybar and Fadak, again that piece of land that we spoke about, فَأَمْسَكَهَا عُمَرْ. According to this narration, he says that Umar radiallahu anhu essentially held on to that. وَقَالَهُمَا صَدَقَةُ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ صَلَى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم. And he said that these are both the sadaqah of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, essentially for the needy and for the ummah. Okay, and basically till the end of the hadith, it's essentially saying, and that basically the Prophet ﷺ had ordered us to continue giving these in sadaqah, etc. However, like we said in the beginning of, in the middle of that hadith, the additions from the Rawi, and we know exactly which Rawi. This was Imam al-Zuhri rahimahullah. And I'm going to come back to Imam al-Zuhri rahmatullah alayhi in a little bit, after we go over the next narration, because the next narration is even more detailed. So he says, first of all, she got angry. Okay? So he's saying, not Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu anha, he's saying that she got angry. She stopped talking to him. She didn't talk to him until she passed away, etc., etc. Okay? This hadith, to answer your question, if it's sahih, it's in Bukhari. This specific narration is in Bukhari. Okay? Also in Bayhaqi. So this version is in Bukhari. It gets worse. Okay? We go to another hadith. Again, this one is also narrated on the authority of Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu anha. Essentially the same thing. Okay? Asking about the inheritance from the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, the specific ones that we mentioned about Fadak and Khaybar, etc., and all that. And according to this narration, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu then says, إن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا نورث ما تركنا صدقة إنما يأكل آل محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم في هذا المال. So again, he narrates, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu quotes what he heard the Prophet ﷺ saying, in that we did not leave any inheritance except that which was sadaqah. And in this version it mentions, however, the family of the Prophet ﷺ, it says Alu Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the family of the Prophet ﷺ is allowed to partake in that which comes from this land. So like we said earlier, whether the fruits, the vegetables, the plants, etc., all that which could be benefited from this land, the family of the Prophet ﷺ is allowed to take from it that which they need, and the rest is supposed to be given in sadaqah to the needy. Now, and then he swears by Allah, so Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu swears by Allah that I am not changing anything that the Prophet ﷺ ordered me to do. And now is the really interesting part. Please listen carefully to the wording here. Okay. So again, it goes on and he says, and obviously Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu refused giving the inheritance to Fatima alayha salam. Okay. But now I want to show you this. Okay. Look at all the underlined parts. Can you see all the underlined parts here and here? This is what we're going to go over. So now the Rawi, who again, Imam al-Zuhri, rahmatullah alayh, he says, so Fatima alayha salam got angry again. She got angry. She stopped. She cut him off. She did not speak to him until she passed away. And then she lived for 6 months after the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And now, listen to this. And then when she was buried, and then when her husband buried her, being Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu alayhi salam, he buried her at night. And he did not inform Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. This is the Rawi, Imam al-Zuhri. And wait till the end of this hadith. He did not inform Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, so the only one who prayed janazah on Sayyidina Fatima alayhi salam was Sayyidina Ali. Ya salam. The daughter of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. The one who the whole ummah knows that she is Sayyidatu Nisa al-Alameen. Nobody prayed Salat al-Janazah on her except her husband. Okay, let's keep going. And then he adds after that, after saying that he's the only one who prayed Janazah on her. Okay. And he says, وَكَانَ لِعَلِيٍّ مِّنَ النَّاسِ وَجْهَ حَيَاةَ فَاطِمَةَ. يا سلام. فلما توفيت استنكر علي وجوه الناس. So basically, he's saying that after the passing of Sayyidina Fatima alayhi salam, the people, the Muslims, basically wanted nothing to do with Ali radiallahu anhu. And they cut him off. And they wouldn't say salam to him, and they wouldn't talk to him, and they wouldn't include him in society. Sayyidina Ali. Okay. And then he adds these very dangerous words. فَالْتَمَسَ مُصَالَحَةَ أَبِي بَكْرٍ مُبَايَعَتَهُ. And then right after that, he's like, and basically to kind of start being included in society again, and so that the people start liking him again, he agreed to the bay'ah, to give bay'ah to Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. So just so that he can gain face, if you would, he agreed after the passing of Sayyidina Fatima alayhi salam to pledge his allegiance, if you would, or give bay'ah to the imama, to the leadership of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. And he says, وَلَمْ يَكُنْ يُبَيْعْ تِلْكَ الْأَشْهُرِ. And obviously before that, he did not give his bay'ah, which is, that part is actually true. However, he's kind of like rubbing it in now. So now he's saying that now he sent to Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. He says, come to me, I want to speak to you. This is obviously after the passing of Sayyidina Fatima alayhi salam. He says, come to me, I want to speak to you, but come alone. Now listen to this. It's not done. He says he told Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu come alone, and then the Rawi says, why did he tell him to do that? كراهية محضر عمر ibn al-Khattab. Yallah, more oil on the fire. Now he's saying that the reason Ali radiallahu anhu said that is because he hated and he didn't want Umar ibn al-Khattab to come with Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. You guys starting to see the picture a little bit here? And then according to him, Umar radiallahu anhu says to Abu Bakr, he says, Wallahi, he says, you are not going alone. What kind of picture is being painted here? What kind of picture is being painted here? According to this narration, Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu wants Abu Bakr to come alone because he doesn't want Umar there. And then Umar radiallahu anhu says, no way you're going alone. No way I'm letting you go alone to go see him. Why? So then Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, what does he say to him? He says, what is he going to do to me? Showing that Umar radiallahu anhu thought or believed that Ali radiallahu anhu was going to do something to Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. He says, I'm coming whether you like it or not. So Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, according again to the Rawi, all that which was underlined is the additions from the Rawi, which have nothing to do with the hadith, which was essential, which was initially from Sitna Aisha radiallahu anha. And then he started adding all these extra things. So Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu went in to see Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu, and then they started having some conversations. He says, Inna qad arafna ya Abu Bakr fadilatak. So now listen to this. Now Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu alayhi salam, he's saying, oh Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, we have now, recognized your grandeur, if you would, or your virtues. Now, we have now recognized, Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu supposedly is telling him now, that now we have recognized your virtues as if he never recognized them before. And that which Allah has given you. And listen to this, Allahu Akbar. The games that were played. وَلَمْ نَنْفَسْ عَلَيْكَ خَيْرًا. After going over all the hadith about Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu directly from the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, about his virtues and the virtues of Sayyidina Fatima alayhi salam, Sayyidina Ali, according to this one, is also saying that we will never surpass you in khair, in any good. Okay? When we have very authentic hadith saying otherwise. Anyways, we're going to continue. And then he says, however, you were quick in your decision with regards to the inheritance. In any case. And he was just saying, and he's like, and we used to see that, we had the right to this inheritance from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu said, he says, listen to this. So the Rawi says that he kept talking until the eyes of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu came full with tears. Okay? Essentially showing he's putting Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu in a position of weakness, of dhul in front of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, essentially showing that, begging for his forgiveness after the passing of Sayyidina Fatima alayhi salam, until when Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, becomes pleased and his eyes are full with tears. And then he says, that Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu says that I swear by Allah that the closeness of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is more beloved to me than anything else, etc., than any wealth, etc. And then he said that I am only doing that which the Prophet ﷺ told me to do, etc. And then after they were done, Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu said that, okay, I'm going to meet you in the evening so I can come officially and give you bay'ah. So then when Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu prayed dhuhr, he got onto the minbar, and then he mentioned this whole scenario with the whole issue of the bay'ah, the pledging of allegiance to him, and that Ali radiallahu anhu apologized, i'tadhar, that he apologized to him again, putting Ali radiallahu anhu down and trying to exalt Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu beyond. He doesn't need to be exalted radiallahu anhu. He already has a very high status. However, again, you see the games. Wait to the end. It's almost done. And again, according to this, Ali radiallahu anhu, praised and exalted Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. Again, I'm just trying to keep it as quick and concise as possible. Okay, that's fine. That's essentially it. Okay? Now, this hadith, where is this hadith? This hadith is muttafiq alayh. Which means what? Is in Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. Any Shia that want to refer to these to this quote unquote issues between Ali and Abu Bakr and Ali and Umar radiallahu anhum, or Fatima and Abu Bakr and Fatima and Umar radiallahu anhum ajma'een, what do they use? They use our sources, our books. They say, look, it's in Sahih Bukhari, look, it's in Sahih Muslim. And this is what happens. And we're going to go over other narrations in our books. I don't know how much time we have. Oh boy. We're going to go over other narrations in our books, in the books of the Shia as well, to prove that this is all false. And these were all additions from Imam Zuhri rahmatullah alayh. Keep in mind, look, Imam Zuhri rahmatullah alayh was a faqih. Okay? Anything with regards to fiqh, ala rasi, no problem. However, Imam Zuhri rahmatullah alayh had some extremely strange narrations, different than anybody else. One of which was, I don't know if you guys have heard, the narration which, again, some Orientalists and others used to attack the Prophet ﷺ and saying, what is this? He was a prophet, but he tried to what? وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, commit suicide? And he says that this, which is, in fact, it's true. The hadith is in fact, what I mean by it's true is that the hadith is true in the fact that it's in our Sahih books. It's in our Sahih books that the Prophet ﷺ became overwhelmed and he went to this location and he felt like he wanted to commit suicide. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. I don't know if you guys ever heard of this quote unquote hadith. Did you guys ever hear this quote, this narration? It's unbelievable. And again, it was from Imam al-Zuhri rahmatullah alayh. So when people see these ahadith, and they see it in Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, they're like, oh my God, this is what these people believe. Oh my God, this must be true. No, we're not talking about Quran here. And the problem is when you bring this up to people, they'll be like, oh, what? So you're trying to say that Imam Bukhari rahmatullah alayh or Imam Muslim rahmatullah alayh made a mistake or that they were wrong? So hold on. What you're telling me is that you prefer to say that Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim, rahimahumullah, didn't make a mistake, but the Khulafa al-Rashidin did? You're trying to tell me that that's how Sayyidina Ali and Abu Bakr and Umar radiallahu anhum, that's how they were with each other? You believe that more than the fact that Sayyidina Imam al-Bukhari or Imam Muslim rahimahullah that they shouldn't have put this in their books? That makes more sense to you? I mean, it doesn't. Our priorities are completely upside down. I don't know. Do you guys have time for me to continue a little bit to go into some of the quickly the hadiths in the books of the Shia proving the opposite? Do you guys have time to go a little bit longer? I got one who's good. Yeah, okay. All right. SubhanAllah, I was trying to keep this as concise as possible, but anyways. So again, I want to be clear. What is the whole issue here between Sayyidina Fatimah radiallahu anha wa alayhi salam and Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu? Is the question of inheritance. Okay? Now, we're going to look at a hadith from the books of the Shia. From the books of the Shia, which prove the complete opposite. Sahih books from the Shia, from our brothers, our Shia brothers. Okay? Yallah. First of all, we'll quickly take one from our books, and we're going to come back to our books as well. And then we're going to quickly flip to the Shia books quickly. So now here we have an Abi Hurairah radiallahu anhu. So now there's a narration from, actually I apologize, I want to read this one first, from Abi Tufail, because this is the most accurate one. From Abi Tufail, Wathila al-Laythi radiallahu anhu, he says that Fatima radiallahu anha had sent someone to Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, and she asked, she says, what's going on, O Khalifa of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? He says, did you inherit the inheritance of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or should his family? And he said, of course, his family. And then she says, so she said, so then where's my inheritance? And then he said, I heard the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if he gave something to a prophet, and then took the prophet from earth, essentially that he passed away, that he would give that which he gave to the prophet to the one who was to succeed the prophet after him. Okay? Trying to translate this the best possible on the fly. So then he said, so he says, and I was the one who was responsible after him. So that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made me responsible for that which was from the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, to continue giving it to the ummah. What did Sayyidina Fatima alayhi salam say in response to that answer? She said, قالت أنت وما سمعته من رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. She said, you do that which you heard from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Done. Done. Story's done. It's over. That's how it ended. Simple. No, she got angry. She cut him off. She didn't speak to him until she died. And then, after she passed away, Ali radiallahu anhu buried her and he prayed by himself. Nobody prayed on her except him. And then he went to pledge his allegiance and ask for forgiveness. None of that. She said to him, you do that which you heard from Rasoul Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And before we get asked the question, yes, the hadith is sahih. Now, again, this was in our books. It is sahih according to our standards in our books from Abu Dawood, Abu Ya'la, and Imam Ahmad, rahimahumullah. Now, let's quickly jump, even though there's another narration from our books as well. Very similar, but that one, I won't go over the hadith, but where it's narrated or where it's recorded is Imam al-Tirmidhi, Imam Ahmad, Imam Bayhaqi, also sahih. Essentially saying the exact same thing, that you do that which the Prophet ﷺ told you to do, from the words of Sayyidina Fatimah alayhi salam. Now let's get into the Shia books. So now we have the riwayah or the narration from Al-Kulayni. Al-Kulayni is essentially the most sahih book that the Shias have. Okay? Listen to this from the most sahih book from our Shia brothers and our Shia ulama. عن أبي عبد الله جعفر. Okay? أنه قال الأنفال. Sorry, again, for the sake of time, I'm going to skip the Arabic. Essentially, he's saying that any spoils of war, etc., or sorry, any bounty that is gained or wealth that is gained, and which was not gained by war, etc. He says, and he says that which was of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the end of it, he says, anything that was belonging to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam after his passing. And again, this is in the most sahih book of the Shias. He says at the end, he says, it is up to the Imam after the passing of the Prophet ﷺ to disperse of it for the Ummah as he wishes. So exactly what Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu says. Like we said in the hadith right earlier, that he said, I heard the Prophet ﷺ saying that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives a prophet something, and that he is taken from this world, that which he gave the prophet becomes the responsibility of the successor of that prophet. That's exactly what this hadith and saying from which was narrated from Imam al-Kulayni, the most sahih and authentic book of the Shias, exactly like the book, or sorry, the hadith that we find in our books. It coincides perfectly. Another hadith, again from the Shia books. We're almost done here. He says that Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, so this is an Ibn Mathim, Al-Maytham, Ibn Al-Maytham, again in the Shia books. He says that Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu said to her, so to Fatima alayhi salam, inna laki mal abiki. كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يأخذ من فدك قوتكم. So that he said to Fatima alayhi salam, he says that the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم used to take from Fadak. Remember that land called Fadak that we spoke about? That he used to take from that and he used to give to you. And he says, and the remaining he would give fi sabilillah. Okay, so as sadaqah, as a charity to those in need. So this, again, reminder, this is in the Shia books. He's saying that Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu said to Fatima that this is exactly what happened, that the Prophet ﷺ used to take that which he needed for you guys, for the family, and the remaining give in sadaqah. And he says, I swear by Allah that I am doing exactly that which the Prophet ﷺ said. And listen to this again in the Shia books. فَرَضِيَتْ بِذَلِكَ. And in the Shia books it says Sitta Fatima alayha salam was pleased and content with what he told her. I don't understand. You see it in the Shia books saying it's the complete opposite. And then in the Sunni books, in our Sahih books, you have these narrations with these spices all over, right, to make things exciting or whatever the reason may be, which people then use against us. Another narration, also from Ibn Maytham, and also about 3 or 4 others actually, والدنبلي وابن أبي الحديد والشيعي المعاصر فيض الإسلام, and the last one was another one great Imam as well. It says والشيعي المعاصر فيض الإسلام علي نقى. Okay, so all of them narrated, and again they say clearly that Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu went and he took Fadak, again that ard, that land, Fadak, which belonged to the Prophet ﷺ after he passed away. And then he would give that which again came from it to Ahlul Bayt. Again, these are Shia Imams agreeing to this, that he would give to Ahlul Bayt, and then he would give to them whatever they needed, and then after that he would spread the rest amongst the Ummah. And then these Shia Imams agree that what? فَكَانَ عُمَرْ كَذَلِكَ. And Umar radiallahu anhu used to do the same. And then Uthman radiallahu anhu and Ali radiallahu anhu, all 4 of them did the exact same thing. In the Shia books this is mentioned, but then in our Sahih, Muslim and Bukhari, you have the narration from Imam al-Zuhri making this big fitna between Ali and Abu Bakr, and Ali and Umar, and Fatima and Abu Bakr, and Fatima and Umar, etc., radiallahu anhum. Now, one last one from the books of the Shia, the 4th one. عن كثير النوى قال, he says, قلت لأبي جعفر محمد الباقر ابن علي عليه السلام. So he says, I said to Abi Ja'far Muhammad al-Bakr ibn Ali عليه السلام, he says, أرأيت أبو بكر وعمر, he says, did you see? So now these are who? These are the grandchildren of Sayyidina Ali and Sayyidina Fatima عليهم السلام, the great grandchildren. He says, you see Abu Bakr and Umar radiallahu anhuma? He said, and he asked, he says, do you think هل ظلماكم من حقكم شيئا? Did they make dhulm? These are in the Shia books. Listen to this hadith. They are asking their Imam, did Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu and Umar make dhulm, transgress or oppress you, min haqqikum, from that which belonged to you, from your rights? Qala, what did he say? He said, la. He said, no. وَالَّذِي أَنزَلَ الْفُرْقَانَ عَلَى عَبْدِهِ. I swear by the one who bring down the Furqan, the Quran, on his slave. لِيَكُونَ لِلْعَالَمِينَ نَذِيرًا مَا ظَلَمْنَا مِنْ حَقِّنَا مِثْقَالَ حَبَّةٍ مِنْ خَرْدَلٍ. They did not oppress us in our rights, even the size of a mustard seed. This is in the books of the Shia. In their books. And then he says, قُلْتُ. And then he asked them, he said, so should I give my bay'ah to them? And he asked them, should I accept their leadership? I don't understand how it could be more clear. قَالَ نَعَمْ. He says, yes. He says, وَيْحَكَ. He says, essentially honor them and give them your leadership في الدنيا والآخرة. Give them your leadership in this dunya and in the akhirah. And he says, if I'm wrong about this, he's like, it's on me. He's like, it's on me in front of Allah. Like this is in the Shia books. And then you guys heard the narration in Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, how much fitna was made. And then even in the Shia books, you see that it's completely false. I think we'll stop here. There are other ahadith. However, again, those are in our books now. So the next one was in Al-Bayhaqi, also a Sahih hadith. I'll quickly run over it. So this was, again, the grandchildren of Sayyidina Fatimah alayhi salam, where they're saying, so Sayyidina Zayd ibn Ali ibn Hussein ibn Ali, radiallahu anhum alayhim salam, he says, Amma ana, falau kuntu makana Abi Bakr. So listen to this. The great grandchildren salam and Ali alayhi salam. He says, if I was in the position of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he says, لَحَكَمْتُ بِمِثْلِ مَا حَكَمَ بِهِ Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu fi fadak. He says, I would have dealt with fadak. But the other ahadith, which are the ones which made so much fitna in the ummah, and we talk about them and we quote them as if it's Quran. Any case, like I said, I'm so sorry to keep you guys so long. But like I said, we had to kind of finish the subject. Otherwise, I really didn't want to cut it off because we were just getting into the hadith of the Shi'as with regard to this subject. So, in conclusion, this whole quote-unquote disagreement and feud, apparently, that the Shi'as talk about and the Sunnis talk about as well, between Fatima radiallahu anha wa alayha salam and Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, never happened. Never happened. Even though we have these additions in our books, in Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, there are so many other narrations which show that it was a simple, oh, okay, that's what my father told you, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, you do what he told you to do, and I accept it. And so many ahadith to prove that, and so many ahadith to prove that in the Shia books as well, like we just covered. So this whole quote-unquote feud between Fatima radiallahu anha wa alayha salam and Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu did not exist. It did not exist. So again, we have to be very, very careful when it comes to these types of stories. Whether we're reading them, whether it's when we hear them, be very careful in relaying these types of stories. And why it's important is because these are the biggest names in our deen. And then according to these narrators, like Imam al-Zuhri rahmatullah alayh, he's making it seem like these greatest Sahaba had these feuds between them that were unbelievable, and they were completely against the teachings of the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. So it's very dangerous, because this kind of it molds a person, and it starts creating this fitna between what? Sunnis and Shi'as, and Sunnis and Shi'as. For what? For no reason. Literally no reason. We see that in our own books, the hadith is all made up. And then we take a hadith from the books of the Shia to also prove that it's made up. So from both sides, we're stuck in between both extremes of the ones who are trying to say, oh, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was right. And then the other ones are saying, oh, no, we hate everybody who hated Fatima radiallahu anha, didn't give her her rights, etc., etc. None of that happened. So all these, charades that keep going on are literally useless and for absolutely no reason. So please, guys, when we're listening to something similar to these things, look into it, ask about it, double check before sharing this information, before teaching this information to your kids, or even your Sunday schools or your Saturday schools that are teaching this information to your kids. If you ever come across it, don't be afraid. Speak up to the teachers. Speak up to the administration. Guys, this didn't happen. This has to stop, because these types of stories are taught to the kids a lot of time. Oh yeah, there was an issue between the two of them, and etc., etc. No, there was no issue. That didn't happen. So anyways, khair inshallah. Again, sorry to keep you guys late. We kind of just had to finish this part of the topic. We're not completely done the topic. However, we needed to cover that part. وصلى اللهم على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم. جزاكم الله خير, guys.